Hi guys, it's Becca. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. It has been a while in the making. I started on this day, and today, on October 30th, I am finishing my James Buchanan Bucky Winter Soldier Barnes Halloween costume. I am so excited that I'm almost done because, again, I've been making it for a while. Actually, I believe this idea has been accumulating in my head to make this costume since probably, before April. No. Yeah, April. Because before Endgame came out, I was like we watched 20 movies. Pretty sure we watched 20 movies up to Endgame. We had to skip Thor: The Dark World and Captain Marvel because we couldn't get those ones in time. But we watched all the other movies, including the Hulk. Yes, the Hulk. Anyway, I'm just rambling on, but I made a Winter Soldier costume, and I'm super excited. It's not done yet. I am putting together the very last piece today, right after I film this intro, but I just realized I didn't have an intro filmed, so I had to film that. Yeah, I worked on a lot of the pieces. I'm just super excited. If you like this video, please give it a huge thumbs up. Comment down below what you went for as Halloween. I say went for because this is going up the week after Halloween, just so I can have time to edit it, because obviously I'm still filming the day before Halloween. And while you are down there, please hit the subscribe button and the little bell next to it to get notified when I upload a video. And you can become a little member of my family if you are just now finding me. Yeah, let's just hop into the video. And before I leave, I should just let you know that from now on, it's basically just voiceover, which I'm not the greatest at yet. But I was, in all honesty, watching YouTube, watching Netflix, watching Riverdale, The 100, listening to podcasts, listening to music, all of those things while I've been working on this, so can't play those for copyright, and yeah, so voiceover. Anyway, I have been talking way too long, and the video is probably already super long, so I'll see you probably at the very end. Me talking straight to the camera, so yeah. Bucky has this tactical belt that I decided to start with. The first thing I decided to tackle was the gun and holster. I'm following a tutorial on how to do this, which I will link down below, but basically I traced the gun onto a piece of cardstock and I drew a holster around it freehand, and then I cut it out. I ended up making this one a little too small, so I decided to retrace it onto another piece of paper to make sure that I had enough room. And I made sure it fit because the other one didn't, so I should make sure this one fits. I just trimmed back some things that just didn't fit right, making sure it all worked out on the piece of paper, which is easier to adjust to your liking. And then I took a piece of foam with sticky back and traced out my pattern onto it and cut that out also. I ended up having a white inside, so I wanted to cover it up, which I accidentally do this backwards, so I had to fix it. And this was my best attempt at fixing it, which I just scratched and moved on to fabric to cover that white backing, which ended up working very well. I fitted it, and then since this is sticky, I just peeled off the sticker and placed the fabric right onto it without having to glue anything. Trimming off the edges, and then I took the backing off a little bit around the edge just so I could glue and have that reinforcement of stick. Then I ended up hot gluing the edge together, and the gun holster part was done. I started on some straps by using some strips of fake leather and sewing a button onto them and putting a little loop in it so I can attach it to a belt, and I just hot glued that all onto the holster. The next part of the tactical belt that I made was the knives, and somehow I lost the footage of me cutting out these, but I just freehanded a knife onto some cardboard.
Dad's home.
Who just drove up?
Dad.
And then I wrapped them in duct tape, just completely wrapped them.
Oh, my senora dear. What did you say? Oh, my senora dear. I don't know what that. I was supposed to say senorita and nothing came out. Dads to be like, oh, and they have the scrunchie, but they're bald, so it's just sitting on top of their head. This old lady, and she was like, and I up?
Anyway, I somehow lost the footage of me cutting out this foam to make the black part, but I did that. And then I moved on to create the holder, so I used some of my other foam to just make the holders, and I fit the knife inside and made a rounded bottom, traced it to make the second one, to make life easier. And then I put them onto fabric because these are also sticky back foam pieces, which really helps out a lot. And I just trimmed off the black around it to make it look flush. And then I glued it together, and ta-da! I did it on the second one, and then I made a loop and buttoned it and glued the knives to it so it can go on my belt.
This looks like a gray hot dog. What? What kind of hot dogs do you eat? Popsicle? Okay, maybe, but a hot dog? What kind of hot dogs do you eat? Ones that look like a knife? Oh my god, it's just so cheesy. Wow.
It took a little bit of figuring out how exactly to place them, if I wanted to glue the knife and the holder or just the holder. So I just ended up gluing the holder to it and doing my best to center it and just glued it on. The next piece of his belt that I worked on was the little boxes. And this part was a little bit of trial and error of figuring out how exactly to put fabric on these little cardboard boxes that I glued together. And I would just suggest you just figure it out on your own, whichever method works best for you. This was my first method, and it didn't work out that well, but it still put fabric on the box. I finished the other 3 boxes using a different method that just worked out much better. So I would, use a different one, maybe a different one for every single one. But yeah, figure out what works for you. So next I started on the top of it, and I just cut out some fabric and folded it and measured and folded it and measured until I got it the right width. And then I glued it on. Once I glued it on, I cut out the little notch shape that it has to match some reference pictures I found, and ta-da! And I repeated it on the next 3 boxes. Ta-da! This is all of the boxes with their little lids. Then I decided I wanted to have buttons to close it, so I just hot glued the button on so it would be elevated, and found some matching buttons and repeated it for the next 3 boxes. Then I cut little notches out in the flap so that, it can go over the button. And again, repeated for the next 3 boxes. The next part for the belt that I started on was these bullets, and I just took some toilet paper tubes, cut them in half, glued them, and put a little top on them. And I took some fabric folded it up and glued it onto these little bullet thing. I repeated this for the next one, and then I took some popsicle sticks, wrapped them in some fabric, and then made some little straps with buttons on them so I can attach them to a belt. I worked on this back piece that he wears, and I cut out a cardboard box in the shape of it, and I drew the design on it. I then took a cardboard box and just cut out pieces that the design is and glued those onto my original piece. I cut out a piece of fabric that was this shape, and then I put some belts on it that I'd cut up and glued that fabric onto it. I glued it all together to make a backpack type thing. This ended up breaking, but it looked good while it lasted. The last accessory I made was the mask, and I used it from the shoulder of the arm that I cut out. Anyway, I shaped it to my face and took some jewelry wire to, just get the shape of my face, and I did some trial and error figuring out how exactly I wanted to shape it. I glued it all on, and it ended up working out very nice. I glued this wire piece in the middle to be very prominent where my nose and mouth would be, kind of like reference pictures. I then glued on the side straps. I kind of angled or triangled the corners so that I could put the strap in it and it wouldn't look so weird. And then I cut a hole where the mouth is, put some foam over it that I sticky put onto fabric, just following reference pictures, which I lost the footage for, sorry. Now where I start the arm, which is the fun part, I have a leather jacket and a metallic shirt, which I bought online, linked down below. I started by cutting the left arm off of the jacket, and I just seam ripped until it all came off. I pinned it and sewed it so there were no raw edges.
Nights alone in my car.
This is what it looked like with the arm off. Very cool, I think. I then cut a strip up the shirt so I can get in and out without having to take it over my shoulder. And I just, buttoned it so I could get it open. And then I cling wrapped my entire arm so that I could make a mask of my arm. Once I had finished cling wrapping my entire arm, I started taping my arm and shoulder completely, just trying the best I could. I had to ask for some help from my mom a little bit. This was my arm completely taped. I had limited movement, but it looked really cool. I then took a colored pencil and I made a map of where every piece should go. I looked at lots of different reference pictures, which I will link down below, and I just drew it all on the arm. And then I had to take it off. I ended up having to cut the little wrist part just to get my hand out.
Oh, I'm so sweaty.
I then used that mask and labeled every single piece. And I took some grocery bags, cut them up, put them over top of the mask, and traced everything I had drawn. Once I had everything traced, I laid it all out, make sure it all fit and looked like it should, you know. I then took it all and I put it onto pieces of foam with peel away backing, and I cut out every piece, making sure I had labeled every single piece. Making sure they fit and just continuing on with the rest of the pieces. I then covered them in duct tape. I ended up doing 2 layers so you couldn't see the numbers through it. I then started on his left hand, which is shown to have metal fingers. So I took a glove from the Dollar Tree and I taped the tops of the finger pads so that I knew where they were. I then wrapped each finger individually and completely so that there was no black showing through the finger. This is a little bit hard to do yourself. It would be great if you had someone to help you. I repeated it on the other fingers. Ta-da! I then took another glove and I just cut off the fingers so that you can't see the raw edges of the tape. Ta-da! The glove hand is done.
Long time. Can I even talk? Long time no talk. I am just about to put the arm together, and I figured I'd talk you through what I'm doing right away, so I don't really have to worry about, what's that word? Voiceover. Oh my gosh. So I don't have to voice over everything. So I have out here, I have laid my entire costume on the floor. It's all bits and pieces. I have my arm pieces all laid out, some duct tape, some glue, some paint, and I'm about to put my arm together, so I'll show you that really quickly. So right here is my arm piece. I have them all labeled in order. I have some tape, some glue, and some scissors. What I plan to do is put on my silver thing that the arm is going on, and I'm going to take each piece. They have
this kind of backing on them. They're sticky foam. Stick them on, and I'm going to super glue, or I guess I have tacky glue or whatever, the ends of it so that it stays down, and then I'm going to duct tape them together and not do it too tight so that I can get my hand through. Yeah, I think that's about it that I need to talk about. So I'm just gonna push play on my Jeffrey and Shane Dawson video because iconic. And I'm just gonna start peeling, sticking, and forcing and taping. Let's go. Alright, I know I wasn't gonna talk, but I have my arm over there. Make sure you have a thick thing underneath. then went to paint on the star with just watercolor and it didn't stick. So I used some watercolor and tacky glue, and I had my sister help me. Alright guys, so this is the finished look. I have a couple things that didn't really work out. A couple things that I think turned out amazing. I am in love with this costume. A couple things I would note is don't use colored foam. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but from the top you can see the colors. It's not that professional. Another thing is doing these is really hard because you can't put them on before you buckle up the belt. Yeah. This, I also use colored foam, and you can definitely see it. I'm not wearing this trick-or-treating though because I am a blind human being. Cannot see without these. These, I completely forgot to say something. These actually kind of look like nice. So, yeah. Yes, and I made his little back piece, but the glue will not stick. So that just got scratched because this is totally fine as is. Yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. Yeah, this outfit is months in the making. I think it's totally worth it. I hope you learned how to make a costume you were learning to make, and if you didn't, well, oh well. Yeah, I'm just gonna take a few more pictures, and then I need to get out of this and take a shower, so bye!